evening, folks, and welcome again to your ticker video guide. This is Carl coming at you from dark Niceville, Florida. Listen, the Wall Street Journal has this nasty little piece out in their new edition that I just saw about Sheila Bair, the head of the FDIC, wants to get a proposal in front of Congress to try to supposedly fix all these foreclosures that are coming and all of these defaults on mortgages. Read this article, guys, and my understanding is that the proposal is essentially that lenders would take a write-down on their loans. The FDIC would then, through the Treasury, negotiate for the Treasury to essentially have a super senior lien. In other words, they would take the first mortgage place for approximately 20% of the remaining balance, and then the original lender would retain the rest. Now, this is different from a conventional mortgage situation because the first mortgage lender, in most cases, has the right to foreclose first, and they are the ones who get paid first. They would have to give up that right to the Treasury, so the Treasury would get their money before the lender in the event that there was a subsequent foreclosure and default. This sounds wonderful because it means your payments would probably go down a little bit, and you wouldn't have to pay that 20%. Make any payments on it at all for 5 years, okay? So it would, assuming that nothing else changed in your mortgage, it would cut your mortgage payments by about 20%. Sounds like a great idea, right? And then in 5 years, you'd have to start making payments on the Treasury debt that you had accumulated. There's a problem. Actually, there's 3 or 4 different problems, and we're going to go through them one at a time. The first one is the utter stupidity of mortgage lenders being willing to take a second lien position. Why? They have a superior position now. Why not just foreclose and throw you out of the house and collect as much as they can? Well, the carrot is supposedly that you might not foreclose at all. But remember now, guys, this is what they're giving up. They're giving up the right to collect first, which means on, say, a $200,000 mortgage, the federal government gets the first $40,000 in the event of a foreclosure, and then whatever's left, the lender gets. Now, let's say that your house has gone down in value from $200,000 to $150,000, but there's a $200,000 mortgage. The lender, in this situation as it stands right now, would take a $50,000 hit before costs. And of course, there are a lot of them. They have to pay lawyers. They have to pay to have the house fixed up. They might have to change the carpet, paint the walls, all the usual stuff, real estate commissions. Okay. So let's say that this deal goes through and your mortgage is $200,000, but now $160,000 is owned by the bank, and Treasury has $40,000. All right, foreclosure happens. The house is only worth $150,000. All right, Treasury gets their $40,000. The bank only gets $110,000 before expenses. Treasury doesn't pay any of the foreclosure expenses. They just take the $40,000. So now the bank has effectively been damaged to the tune of the $40,000. Because they no longer have first lien status. Now, maybe you can tell me why they do that. Well, probably because the FDIC can twist their arm and almost kind of sort of make them. But let's think about what this does. Let's say that this was to happen, okay? Mortgage lenders would immediately respond by hiking the spread. That is the difference between Treasury notes, 10-year Treasury notes, which is normally the reference that most 30-year mortgages are written off of, and their rates. They'd probably put about 200 basis points or 2% on the cost of money to cover that risk. And it's very simple, guys. If you make things more risky, people charge you more. Your credit card costs you more in an interest rate than your mortgage. That's because if you screw the credit card company, what are they going to come get? Okay, the mortgage company comes to get your house. What's a credit card company come to get? Your flat panel television? Yeah, right. Okay, so they're going to raise their prices. You say, well, what's that do? Well, that actually makes the whole situation even more stupid. And here's why. We're going to use our trusty little HP calculator again. Okay, we have a $200,000 house loan here. Okay, we're going to do this with $200,000 mortgage. So we have a $200,000 loan. And we have a 6% mortgage. This is what we're starting with, right? Same thing that we had before. All right? So we have a 6% mortgage and a regular conforming 30-year loan, and our payment is $1,193.13. Actually, 14, close enough. Okay, $1,193. And you say, well, what if the interest rate went to 8% instead of 6%? And I can only afford an $1,193 house payment. How much house can I buy? Well, fortunately for you, the wonderful HP12C can give you that answer. You can plug in the payment, $1,193. You put it in with a negative sign, okay? So we're going to put in the $1,193.13, okay? 93.13 as the payment, again with a minus in front of it, okay? Then we're going to put in the number of payments, 30-year mortgage again, and we're going to say 8%, and we're going to push the PV button, and we're going to have it tell us how much house we can buy. And the answer is $163,687.95. So this 2% increase in spread, 200 basis points. Well, let's see. We started with a $200,000 house, didn't we? Guess what? Sheila Bair just devalued every house in America. Every house in America by 19%. Very nice. Because that's the difference between what your payment will buy after she does this, if she gets this done, and what it buys now. Now, folks, that's bad. What's worse is how badly it screws the banks. Because since the spread goes up and the price of your house goes down, your $200,000 house, remember, your $200,000 house went down in value to $150,000. Okay? So it went down by 25% more. So we're going to take this $163,000 house, and we're going to take 25% off of that. Your house is now worth $122,250. The government gets its 40 grand, and the bank gets 80. Bank was going to get 150 before this change was made, if it foreclosed on you, before expenses. Now it's going to get 80 before expenses. Instantaneous 50% mark-to-market on every mortgage-backed security that's out there. 50% off, where it trades today. Not where it traded originally. Not 50 cents on a dollar, 50% off of where it trades right now. This is the dumbest thing I have heard in 20 years of watching Washington stupidity. Sheila Bair needs to be fired. Have a nice night.